So our next topic is moving away from the DC stuff, but it's moving into another kind of cinematic universe, the Anne Rice cinematic universe on AMC. And we're going to be talking about the Mayfair Witches, which is their latest show. Now, Jude and I have been watching their Interview with the Vampire reimagining. And I know Vader tried a couple episodes and quit. I
watched the interview and I said, nope. And I'm out.
And Vader's actually a big Anne Rice fan, and so is Jude. And we started watching Mayfair Witches, which is one of Jude's favorite novel series.
Right.
But she's been having very mixed emotions about this show. So Jude, why don't you explain it?
Okay, so the Witching Hour series is my favorite thing that Anne Rice ever did. I love that series. I've read the entire series several times. I love these characters. When I heard that AMC bought like her whole universe and they were gonna create something that like crossed over between like the vampire series and the witches series, I was so excited. And I was really looking forward to this show in particular. Like I didn't really care about Interview with the Vampire. I liked most of it. I had some issues with some things that they did that they changed from the book, but overall I thought they did a really good job with it. From the beginning with Mayfair Witches, they have made such big changes. Like they've taken two major characters in the entire series and they've combined them into one character and renamed them. And they've done this with at least two that I've caught so far. And they haven't explained it at all. Like there's an interview after each show from the creators talking about like how gorgeous the scenery is, how wonderful they're doing, what a great job they're doing. And they're not fucking saying this is what we did with these characters. It's so confusing and it's infuriating. These two major people in the series are just completely fucking gone, but sort of. And it's really confusing and I hate it. And I need someone to explain it to me.
But Jude, that's what they do with like literally every single show that they produce now that us in the nerd world like to watch.
Well, basically
they change things and replace things with no explanations.
Where is this playing?
It's on AMC.
It's on AMC. It's not a streaming.
Where can you
thing.
watch it streaming?
Oh, I have no idea. They
So
probably
you can subscribe to AMC Plus on Amazon.
Or if you have sorry.
And basically they have you know all the AMC shows on it. It's actually like a good add-on if you have Amazon. It's one of their channels. And
is it Better Call Saul on there too?
Yeah.
So if you have I do pro tip though. So because thank you, Mom. If you have cable or satellite, and like I have a Roku TV, if I have like the TNT, TBS, AMC, I have all these different apps, and I verify them through my mother's DirecTV account. Thank you again, Mom. I love you so much.
So you're stealing your mom's.
Yeah,
no, I'm not stealing.
That's very good.
Share.
Very cool.
I share.
No one I know has cable, bro.
Cut him off, Penny.
Let me verify through your mom too, then.
What's her email address? We're all gonna start using Penny's mom.
Every time I see that where it's like add your AMC account or whatever, I'm like, I don't know. No one I know has terrestrial TV anymore.
You know, what? My mom is of a certain age, and I love and appreciate that she still has. She doesn't have cable. She has DirecTV, but because of that, literally every single Roku app on my television, I can watch regular TV through their streaming services.
Yeah. So, so I wanted to ask you, Vader, because you know, I know that when we got the announcements of how these Anne Rice shows are going to be made, you were very doom and gloom.
I didn't have any faith that they could do it right.
Yeah. And so like, you know, Jude and I, when we watched Interview with a Vampire, we were like, you know what? Yeah, they changed a lot. They made it very LGBTQ, but it was still like an interesting story. I thought that they spun. It was almost like a sequel to the original Interview with a Vampire.
I mean, there's Anne Rice's vampire world is a very, I guess in today's terms, it would be very LGBT friendly. She never hid any of that stuff.
Right.
That these vampires didn't give a crap whose blood they were sucking or having relationships with, and it was just a very generic almost part of that world. It was just part of it. And what I feel like Jude is getting frustrated with here is that they're changing things just for the sake of changing them
Yeah,
to
there's no
probably make
reason.
them more modern, or to have some kind of agenda character or some nonsense. And,
Yeah.
and it's frustrating.
The thing that
And-
bothered me about Interview with the Vampire is that one of the things that makes the vampires, one of the things that is just ingrained in the vampires and Anne Rice's world is that vampires don't have sex.
Yeah.
They get their sexual
Mhm.
kicks from
Sucking
being a
blood.
vampire.
Yeah.
They don't fuck. And the show made them fucking in every
Yeah.
episode,
Oh, oh.
and then fucking different people and like having these trysts, and that wasn't a
okay.
part
Now
of the
I'm
series at
interested.
all.
What show
Oh,
is this
ha
again?
ha, Brian. Hey, pull that back up because that's why I was raising my hand. I wanted Vader to answer that.
I did. I read all the vampire
Okay.
novels.
Okay.
I didn't read the Mayfair Witches because I was kind of over it at that point, but I really liked Anne Rice's vampire novels.
Yeah.
I was fascinated by it. I thought it
So
was a great
I never
world.
And the
read
thing
the
that they're
books,
doing-
never saw this new series. I have no skin in this game, so.
Yeah, I made it through the first episode and half the second one. I said, this isn't Anne Rice's vampires.
Yeah.
I'm done.
And
I'm
the
out.
thing that they're doing with the Mayfair Witches is the changes with the characters. It's really infuriating, and that's bothering me the most because
Mhm.
I'm watching this confused every episode. And then they're changing, like the main villain of the Mayfair Witches is a demon named Lasher, and they're giving him powers that he's never had in the books, and they're not explaining it.
That's because modern writers know better than the author of the actual shows.
Right.
Well,
It's
you
so
know, it's nonsense.
infuriating.
Can I ask a question about this? Because so an argument I've always made is like, do we really want, if you're taking something from one medium to another, do you really want it to be a carbon copy, or do you want it to?
I want to
be-
see the stories that we love on the television or movie screen
I mean, if you're taking
without
something
them
that has,
changing shit
You're,
about it.
Okay.
you're taking something that has a wild fandom. People know these characters. And even if it didn't have an existing fandom, the fact that you're putting it out there as a show is going to
but
make
before she-
people go and watch those things. People know these characters. And if you're making major changes, you need to explain it either in the story or in that fucking interview that you have to do at the end of each
I know,
episode.
isn't that
Well,
annoying?
didn't
I hate
Anne
it.
Rice, before she passed away, like sign off on this and like fully endorse this show? I think I read that somewhere. I mean, again, I don't know. Fuck all.
I mean,
about
I don't
this.
think any of these scripts were done before she passed away.
Oh,
I
they
mean-
weren't? Okay.
Anne Rice was totally, for lack of a better word, woke. I mean, that isn't a big secret. So
She
yeah,
was all
she
over the
probably
place,
did.
though.
She probably did sign off on this
Okay.
stuff, but
So-
that doesn't mean we have to like it.
Anne Rice was a
Fair enough.
woman who changed throughout her life.
Mhm.
She
As people
invented the
do.
sexy vampire, and then she renounced it and became a born again Christian. And then she renounced that and started doing a werewolf series. And she's a woman who has had so many changes throughout her life and has gone back and dabbled George Lucas style and changed her own scripts.
Yeah.
So the fact that they're making changes, I can get on board with, but I wanted it to be better. I still really want to like this show. And each episode, I am hate watching it a little bit more.
Don't
Yeah,
hate
and-
watch
and
shows. That's why
I'm-
we're
I'm
getting another
someone-
Velma.
I'm someone who hasn't read the Mayfair Witches, and I'm watching it with Jude, and it's not a good show. It's very slow. It's very boring. You don't really like any of the characters, and so I dislike it for different reasons than Jude. But I did read Interview with a Vampire. I saw the Tom Cruise version of the movie, and I went into Interview with a Vampire just convinced I was going to hate it, and I actually ended up really enjoying that series. And so it's kind of interesting to see like the comparison between the two, and the fact that like just everything about Mayfair Witches doesn't seem to be working for normies and for fans of the book.
I got a question
Okay.
for the fans of the books. I've never read anything, and I know a bunch of weird kids that I grew up with that read everything after they saw Interview with a Vampire, right?
Okay.
We all liked Interview with a Vampire. How did you feel about Queen of the Damned?
That's what I was. Oh, you stole my question. That's what I was.
Yeah,
Great.
gotcha.
Okay, so I read Interview with the Interview with the Vampire series and the Witching Hour series before the first movie came
Yeah, I
out.
did too.
So and I liked the first the Interview with the Vampire movie. I liked it. I have always found Louis to be an extremely whiny character, and what I liked about that series was that the first book was from Louis' perspective, and the entire rest of the series is from Lestat's perspective, and I loved that. Queen of the Damned, I liked it the first time I saw it, but I think it was because I was young and stupid, and I didn't know what a good movie was. And I watched it again maybe a year or two ago, excited to rewatch it because I had reread the Interview with the Vampire series again.
Uh-huh.
And then I rewatched the first Interview movie, and then I put Queen of the Damned on, and I was like, oh shit, this movie's terrible. And I didn't remember it being so bad.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
haven't
it wasn't great.
I haven't watched it in a long time, but I was predisposed to liking it because they used a Deftones track in the movie, and that's my favorite.
I thought the
band.
casting of Lestat was good. I thought he was a much better Lestat than Tom Cruise was. But that was really about the only thing that.
But they don't even
enjoyed.
explain that in the movie. It's so
Right.
I mean they've been like bastardizing her work since the beginning.
Sure.
So what did you expect when we have a girl power show come out and it gets to be girl power and it's all about girl power?
Well, Queen of the Damned was more of a movie combining.
Well, I mean
the
Mayfair
vampire-
Witches. I mean Mayfair
Okay.
Witches being the girl power. We have an opportunity to make girls awesome, and witches and girls. All girls can do magic, and they all do kung fu.
So when
That's
you
not-
say Mayfair
that's not what it
Witches, is that the AMC series Mayfair Witches, or
Yes.
is that it is okay? Okay.
Welcome to the conversation, Danny.
No, dude, I told you I didn't read these books. Anyway, hey, my mom has been asking Kadish a question a couple times in the chat. She actually texted me, and I was like, "Hey, mom, just super chat." And she's like, "I don't know how to do that." So my mom really wants to know. She says, "Kadish, how many Earthman Jack books are there in the series?"
So right now there are 5 that are published, but I've got 4 more I need to write. So
Wow, I only have the first 2. I need to get to.
yeah, well, I split the 3rd book up into 3 other novels because it was so long.
It was so big.
Yeah,
It literally would not fit into one hardback.
you couldn't print it out because it was like too long, and that was with like using like 10-point font and all that stuff.
Oh,
So I had
God.
to for the actual physical printing, I had to break it up into 3 different books.
Right.
But
Well, my
but,
mom wants a link. If you have one, she'd like to.
yeah, just go to kadishbooks.com.
All right,
It's,
I'll get the
it's
link
only
for you,
one
Mom.
D.
Yeah, 1D,
All right, I'll do that. Right
1 big D.
now. One big
Wow.
D.
You.
Hey Matt,
Oh.
why don't you
As
go
soon
like
as I
old
said
school? Matt, why don't you go like old school and get like the Maleficarium style, where like the book is the size of a table, and just print it all in one giant,
Yeah,
literal coffee table book.
With the
it's
gold-
like the Darkhold, right?
Like
Yeah.
like the Buffy the Vampire book that says vampire on it.
Yeah,
With the
and
gold
you
flake
blow
edges
dust
the
off of
spine.
it.
Yeah.